If you're a marketer, product manager, or growth leader trying to figure out how to actually do experimentation and personalization in 2025, especially with AI everywhere, you're in the right place. In this video, you'll hear from Elena Verna, Shafqat Islam. They unpack what's actually working in digital experimentation right now, the strategies that help you move fast, make better decisions, and drive real growth without needing a 20-person insights team. We'll also touch on growth marketing frameworks that can help you scale.
Most growth teams end up spending majority, as in 90% plus of their time on defensive analysis, which creates much lower lift to your outcomes and more is used as a firefighting engine as opposed to unlocking new opportunities.
We are very lucky to be joined by someone who is an expert at all things growth, Elena Verna. She's a B2B SaaS growth leader and advisor at a lot of companies, Vimeo, but she has previously worked at Dropbox and started her career at SurveyMonkey. I'm Shafqat Islam. I'm the president here at Optimizely, but this is all about the Elena show.
I categorize this in two buckets, actually. First of all, everything starts with data input. So what is it that you actually metric that you're trying to move, and what is your hypothesis is based on what type of observation? Because experimentation fundamentally is not all just getting into rooms. All has to stem from a business problem. And business problem should be categorized into two separate buckets, in my opinion. Bucket number one is defensive analysis and defensive testing. What defensive analysis means is that there is a drop in the metric. So let's say your conversion rate is deteriorating. You need to find a reason as to why it's deteriorating and revert it back. It is the way to protect your existing revenue, your existing growth that you have. On the other side, the biggest bucket that every team often forgets to invest into is offensive analysis. And offensive analysis helps you uncover future new revenue that you don't yet have. So those offensive analysis is actually where majority of experimentation roadmaps should be. However, unfortunately, most of the growth teams end up spending majority, as in 90% plus of their time on defensive analysis.
I love that defense versus offense is a good framework. The defensive pipeline of tests it's capped in terms of the value that it can create, right?
Correct.
Whatever you are at today versus zero, it's capped at that level. Versus offense, it's totally uncapped.
So I actually like to plan experimentation like rolling 4 weeks in advance. So we know what we're building, but what is going to happen 4 weeks from now is constantly being reshaped by additional data that is coming into experimentation, which is very hard for quarterly planning perspective, because obviously if you need support from all of the other teams, they want like you signing in blood. This is what we're going to do and this is what we're going to launch. It has to follow the data. So I do very tentative, high level quarterly planning. These are the metrics that we're focusing on, and here are the problems that we've identified. I stay very opaque about actual solutions that we're going to implement against them outside of the next 4 weeks of development, or like the first 4 weeks of the quarter development that we know for sure that we're going to do because we have good evidence to do it. Again, that doesn't make great friends with my core product and core marketing counterparts, but after they see the benefit that you can get out of business performance by having this specific stream be less planned out in the future, more and more they start to actually adjust to the similar planning. With the AGI, the biggest thing that I see is acceleration of velocity of what a single human, a single employee can actually accomplish in the company. When this comes specifically to growth, there's two trends that stand out to me. Number one is how many more meaningful insights you can get out of data at really incredible velocity. There's already AI agents that are starting to pop up that start to discover those insights and correlations and possible causations in the data. Before, it was a big bottleneck, whether you knew how to query the data, you knew SQL, or you knew how to use analytics tools properly, or if you even had the right questions of the data, versus AI now can sift through it so much faster and get you those golden nuggets. So I'm very excited about that. We will see more out of data that is meaningful insights. And second of all, what I'm also starting to see evolve is AI agents starting to act on those insights and try to move the needle in your business autonomously. And that doesn't mean that experimentation as a program is going to go away in the companies, by the way, but some of the most rudimentary tasks like color optimization, text optimization, when to send an email, when not to send an email, some copy testing, all can be overtaken by AI. And I think that's just a beautiful thing that we as growth teams, as experimentation teams, can focus on much bigger things and much more interesting tests where some of this grunt work is going to be eliminated and taken over by AI. Goal your team on failures. It might feel very counterintuitive because, oh my
I
gosh, why
like
would
it.
we want to fail? Because we need to win, we need to get those lifts. However, if you goal a team on failures, you allow them to reach outside of their comfort zone, and then you can translate those failures into learnings. So I go as far as saying, hey, fail 50% of your tests. That might feel
Love it.
like, oh, it's crazy, but just so you know, you're actually going to need to fail around 80 to 90% of them to get those big wins and those big lifts that you're going to need to see. The biggest thing that we're always extremely uncomfortable with is how to extract those learnings out of those failures. At Dropbox, when I was there, we actually had this wonderful channel, which was called Oh Shit. Yes, very little unconventional, but what we would post in there is every initiative that did not live up to its expectations or actually produced the counterintuitive results with the full analysis as to why it happened and
I
what do
love
we
that.
think is next. And it was so powerful for the entire company to engage in those discussions and have a very real place to say, hey, it's not all about wins and butterflies and rainbows and like revenue up and to the right. We make mistakes, we learn from them, we teach everybody about it, and we normalize this learning behavior in order to help us bridge between perception and reality that we have with the market.
I love that. No such thing as failures, only learners. Thank you so much. I think people are going to be super excited.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one.